All right, so today in our training, we're just going to be reviewing kind of the basics of MemberClicks. There are a couple of homework pieces that I'm going to assign, and I'll make sure I point where those are in our training that we do today, and I'll also recap what those are when I send my, my follow-up email that will include this video of the training also. And if you have any questions at all during the training, feel free to interrupt me. I am the world's worst at if I wait to ask a question, I know I'll forget. I know I'll forget it. So if you have any questions, I am not. It does not hurt my feelings if you interrupt me at all. Okay? And are you able to hear me fine?
I do.
All right, wonderful. So let's go ahead and get started on our database training today. This is the first of our 4 one-hour trainings that we'll be going through. So we'll have 3 more after this one today. And we're just going to start by looking at our home page. So this is what you'll see when you log into the back end of the site. And I should have sent you login credentials in that first. Oh, and I think did we just gain somebody else?
Sorry, my computer was updating some updates and it just wouldn't turn on, so I didn't know the number and the access code. Sorry.
No, that's okay. We actually just got started, and I'm kind of reviewing the home page. And so I was saying that I think it's Susan and Jenny who have login credentials to the site. And so I've provided in the follow-up from our kickoff call that we had, I provided the login credentials as well as the site where you guys can log into the back end. And so you'll need that to complete those pieces of homework. And
okay, may I know who all are on the call in the conference call today so far?
So far we have Susan.
So far we have Susan. Okay.
Yep. And we just went ahead and got started because I do only have an hour, and I just wanted to make sure we were able to get through our training.
Sure.
And I am recording this so you can send it to your other members.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. Wonderful. So once you've logged in, this is the page you'll be brought to. Our home page is comprised of 3 different dashboard areas. To get back to the home page, you can always select the home icon in the top left-hand corner, and that'll bring you right back to where I am now. To review those 3 different dashboards, the first is our membership dashboard, and it looks like Kathy is joining us.
That's great.
Hey.
I'm here.
Hey, Kathy, how are you?
Okay. I'll mute it while you're talking.
You're fine. Great, and yeah, and just like I told the other ladies that are here with us, I am recording this, so you can always go back and look at that video that I'll be sending you in my follow-up email today.
Great, thanks.
Of course. So this is the home page. What you're looking at now, this is what you guys will see when you log into the administrator side of the site. It's comprised of 3 different dashboards. This first dashboard is the membership dashboard. So the current membership rosters show the different member types that you have. And then once I've imported your database, once I've received your revised database and it's ready to be imported, those numbers of your members are going to fall under this active category. And then once we've allowed your membership to begin renewals, the renewal process, they'll begin to move into either the grace period, so that's that period we've set up where they can still log in. However,
I have a question. Hauser. It's really up to you. So once I have you on my computer, I'm thinking I should have my phone.
Yeah, if you're getting a lot of feedback, go ahead and mute your computer and just call in separately on a phone. Is that what you were asking?
No, I was asking the reverse.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying because there's a lot of feedback on the phone.
Well, there's a lot of feedback. On the top right corner, mute the little microphone. Just click on it and mute yourself. Then you can just talk on the phone.
Okay.
There you go. Kowser, can you hear me now?
It's much better, thank you.
Wonderful. What was your question?
No, that's it. You can continue.
Okay, good. Perfect. So then your members, those numbers of your members will begin to move around once they're in their grace period and then once they're in their lapse period. So that means that when the grace period has ended, they will end up in their lapsed period. And at that point in time, you will still have their profile. It will still be saved in the lapse category as the member type that they are. None of their information will be deleted or erased or anything like that, but they will not be able to log in with their login credentials to your site at that time until they've renewed their membership. Then we have our new members in the last 90 days. So the reason we have this set up is MemberClicks knows how important it is for you to reiterate those membership benefits that your members are gaining frequently and quickly once they become members. So this will allow you to engage those new members quickly. You can spot them right in this new members in the last 90 days dashboard area. Next set of dashboards we have are our event dashboards. These are going to pull from our forms that we're going to create for event registrations. So for past event attendance, this is going to show us up to 3 past events, the date they were held on and how many people attended. And then for upcoming expected events, this is going to show us up to 3 upcoming events, the date that they're expected to be held on and how many people have registered so far. Lastly, we have our financial dashboards. The aged receivables is going to show us how many outstanding invoices we have, by how much money, and how many days. So this is going to create a bar graph for us. If all of your invoices are current, you're going to have a nice big green bar in here. However, if you're 1 to 91 plus days overdue with your invoices, you'll see a big red bar populate in this area. And then this last dashboard area is our sales over time. Once I have all of your revenue accounts, I'll add them into the system, and we'll actually be able to filter this graph per revenue account. So if we wanted to look at your membership dues, we could select revenue account filter, and then we would select membership dues. And then we'll see this chart change with how much money has come in per month for that specific revenue account. All right, do you guys have any questions on this homepage area and those 3 different dashboards?
No, we're okay so far.
Okay, wonderful. The next thing we're going to look at are our account settings. So I'm just going to work under the Settings tab and Account Settings. We're just going to confirm a couple things in here, make sure I've gotten all the information that I've needed. The only time you'll ever really need to work in this space is once you've graduated, meaning that our time together has kind of come to an end and you're ready to launch your site and all of that kind of good stuff. You'll be calling into the help team for any questions you have. So they'll become your main point of contact. They're going to ask for your account number. You don't have to memorize it or write it down. It's going to be in this area right here for you. This is also a good place to keep up with how many custom profiles and prospect profiles you have once we've imported those members. So if you start to see that you're getting close or over that 1,000 profile mark, then you would need to either start thinking about leveling up with MemberClicks, or of course you could always look in and see if you have any lapsed profiles that have not renewed for the last year or so, and you could move them to prospect profiles so they won't take up your custom profile space. I have you in the Pacific time zone. I have your membership year starting January 1st. And then I'm going to go ahead and this toggle is just showing the member number in your profiles. I always keep this on because it's a great system attribute to help me import your members. However, we can hide this from your members once we get to attribute security. I'll explain what that is in just a bit, but I always just keep this toggled on. I have that you're using QuickBooks, so I've left QuickBooks toggled on. Any emails that come from our MemberClicks system, when your members are ready to reply to those emails, we need to make sure that those emails are getting where they need to go so you guys can reply back to them. So this is the email I have in place for that. And then lastly, the billing contact information for MemberClicks is housed right here. You guys have any questions on account settings?
So the email that you talked about, whose email address you said?
I'm not sure. This is what you guys supplied to me on your account settings document. Does that not look familiar?
Yes, I'll get you the new address for the executive director, which has changed to With Lighting, because that address is for Jenny Garvis.
Okay, yeah, if you can send me that up-to-date email address, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
No, it's just that I don't have access to that email. That's why I'll have to talk to Heather.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that updated email once I receive it in there for you. Okay. So the next area that we're going to be looking at is our financials. I am going to use my MemberClicks test site a little bit to show you what this will look like once invoices are created in your system. It's kind of hard to picture when it's just blank. So I'm going to work under the Financial and Invoices tab. So for your site as of right now, it's just going to be a blank area. However, if I toggle over to my MemberClicks site, you'll see that we have all of these invoices that are created in our system. So any invoice that's created in your system will be found in this area. They're organized by the invoice number, the type of invoice this is, the first and last name of the members that the invoice is for, their organization, the status of the invoice, whether it's paid, open, or voided, the total amount the invoice is for, the due date of the invoice, and then you can either view or void the invoice from here.
So
A couple other things. Go ahead.
Okay, were you able to import all the
Numbers that we sent the list to you?
Yes, I have all of your members. I have not been able to import them yet. That was an update. I just wanted to confirm. We discussed this. It is an updated. That is the one that we want to use, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that generally takes me about 7 days to get imported. So I'll make sure that I go ahead and get that done, hopefully before our next training. Okay.
Question. Can for invoice purposes here or for financial purposes, can any historical information be put in here on any of these people for what they've paid in the past?
That's a great question. So we wouldn't be able to put invoices in the system for that. However, we could create custom attributes. Now, we don't typically like to import historical data into custom attributes. That is not a best practice. Let me back up a little bit. So an attribute is just any type of information we're using to describe your members. So my name is Adrian. So my name is an attribute of who I am.
Yeah.
In our system, we have 3 different types of attributes that we use. We have built-in attributes, and we're going to review these here in just a bit. But we have built-in attributes. Those are those attributes that we've seen across the 1,600 plus associations we've worked with that we know you guys collect on your members, right? Like physical address, email address, phone number, organization, name, so on. Then we have system attributes. So those are the things that the system uses to track your membership periods and how much your members owe. So things like their member type, their expiration date, join date, their member number, stuff like that. The last category of attributes we have are custom attributes. And so let's say you wanted an attribute to track all of the previous year conferences your members have gone to. Instead of creating, did your member come to the 2014 conference? Yes or no. Did they come to the 2015 conference? Yes or no. Did they come to the 2016 conference? Yes or no. Something that we could do is maybe create an attribute that says which previous annual conferences has this member attended, and then we could have underneath.
I could make it easier if it's easier. Which is
okay.
If all that is in a spreadsheet somewhere, can we put a link to at least the spreadsheet when we're in different people's accounts so that we can get over to the spreadsheet back and forth, even if that's a bit of a pain?
We wouldn't be able to put it in their profile. However, we do have a
no, but we can have one overall.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not going to get right into that person, but we only have 1,000 members or so, not even. So whatever it is, it's not like we have to go through a ton of stuff.
Yeah, so we could definitely keep an Excel document, and we actually have a place we can store that in MemberClicks that you can access. So it's all in one place, and you can bring up that Excel document whenever you need to reference it. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Will it go off this page when you do that, or are we going to have to go back and forth, or we can open it next to it? That's what I'm hoping to do, so I can look at it while I also have them up.
You can open it next to it.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. And I didn't see any excessive historical data in the database that I received from you guys. In fact, from what I remember, it seemed pretty simple.
Yeah, I don't know where all that was stored in the past, so I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
Or whether they sent it to you or just thought they didn't, shouldn't send that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. From what I'm told, it automatically updated and just gave you the most recent information. That's what I was told.
Okay, I'm wondering if maybe we should look at that.
Well, the only question I would have, too, if we're not invoicing right away, because let's say people already just paid in December, we need to get that information in here in a way that next year it knows they're at their renewal time.
Well, that would just be through their expiration date.
Which
And
would
all
be
of your
just part of
members
the
are
main
based,
database?
right, exactly. And all of your members are based on a fiscal year expiration date from what I understand. Is
I
that correct?
think so. I think that's true. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
So we would just need to make sure that the expiration dates are up to date, meaning that if they renewed this year, they're at a 2006 or 2017, I forgot what year we were in, or if they did not renew this past year, we would just want to make sure that it still reads this.
So the due date here is
2016.
based on the invoice, and the renewal dates are in the main database, and then we can just go in here from that, and invoices can be created.
I think I understand what you said, but let me basically just re-say what I think you said in MemberClicks terms. When I do my first import, the system's going to read the expiration dates that I give the system. So it's going to have a space, and I'm going to show you in a bit where you can find that,
so
where
you'll
it's going
put
to
that
hold
in
the
there.
expiration.
I got it.
Yeah. Moving forward, the system will automatically create. I'm sorry, y'all, I have a bit of a cold. The system's going to read those expiration dates and create invoices based off of those expiration dates. So if we're up to 2017, the system will automatically create all of the 2017 invoices for us and send them out to your members.
Can you then create one type of invoice and or more than one type of invoice and track it to those people? So if someone's an associate member or a full member, can you have different invoices you're creating every year, and that's the ones the system's going to pull to send?
So we're going to create invoices, and I think it might help as we continue through our training. I think it might help you understand a little bit. But we're going to create a different invoice amount based on member type. So the database I received, it has you broken out into category 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there's a student category. That's not what we originally discussed.
I'm not part of that part, so I don't know.
Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, basically for every different type of member type you have, our system will create a different invoice amount per member type, and then we'll send those out. And you can track those invoices back to your members' profiles.
So 2 quick questions. One, it will do that automatically, or once a month you go in and you say send, the ones for this month?
It'll do it automatically.
Okay. So is there a way to go in and stop any that you need to?
Why would you need to do that?
I don't know, there's an issue with somebody and you just don't want them to getting an invoice for some reason?
If it's a one-off situation, we could just change their expiration date.
Right. So you can go in and do that?
Yes, we can
kind of
manually override it. You guys would have to do that.
We can do it. Okay.
You can do it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, great questions. I appreciate those questions. They're really good. Yeah, and hopefully through this training and through our additional trainings, you guys will feel empowered to do that yourself. Of course, I'm right here with you, so if you need anything, you can always give me a call up.
I'd like it if possible we could do, we can just do ourselves, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly. You're not having to, feel like you have to wait on anybody or anything like that. Yeah, you can do all that. And we're going to actually learn how to do that today.
Well, let's keep going because I know you want to get done and I need to get done too, so.
I love the questions. You just keep letting me know if you have any, because these are really beneficial to you guys learning and my training. So I appreciate it. Great. So right now we're just looking at that invoice list where all those invoices are housed. So let's go ahead and look at an example of an invoice together. So if I just click on an invoice number. This is exactly how your invoices will look. Of course, it'll be your logo in the top right-hand corner and your association information in the top left-hand corner. In this case, this invoice is open. If it's paid, it's going to have a green stripe that reads paid on it. This tells us that this is membership renewal. This is for an organizational setup. You guys don't have this, so you're not going to have all of the individual members listed. Yours will just I'm so sorry, y'all. It'll just say their member type and then when their membership is good through and the amount that they owe. And they do have the ability to pay this right from the renewal email that they receive. However, if they want to pay it later, they can always submit a check to you guys, or they can give you their credit card information. You can pay their invoice. Go ahead.
And we can customize these invoices ourselves?
There's some minimal amounts of customization. So when you say customize, what are you referring to specifically?
Well, you may want to put something about, the next year's conference that's coming up, or you may want to put about some issue you want them to pay attention to.
So that would go right here in this notes
an
section.
Note that's needed, I don't know.
Yeah, so that would be in this notes section, and you can absolutely customize that. I'm going to show you where we can do that here. I know I keep saying like in just a minute, but we're going to skip to that here in a second.
We'll get there. Okay.
So if somebody does submit a check to you guys, it's as easy as you finding their invoice, select pay invoice. If it's an offline payment, we would select offline payment. Boom, we could put in, whether it's cash, a check, offline, wire, credit, no payment, other, whatever it may be. You can add in a reference number or check number.
Okay, I'm going to be annoying, but in type, can we change any of that?
No.
Okay, so can there be different kinds of credit cards so you know which one it is?
If it's a credit card, so that's like an actual credit. If it's a credit card, it actually would look like this, and so you would determine what type.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Exactly. So you can either put in credit card information, or you can do offline payment like a check and submit that.
And what kind of receipt do they get once they do this online?
So they are given an exact, all of your, let's go back to the invoice list. Well, all of your members will be able to go into the back end of this, to go into their profile. So everybody has a profile on the site. Once they've logged in, there's an invoice section, and they can review any invoice that's ever been created in MemberClicks for them, meaning that they can also review paid invoices. So they can print off, and it'll look just like this, but it'll say paid at the top, and it'll have I'll show you an example instead of
right. You said, yeah. Right. Okay.
It'll look just like this, and it'll show a $0 amount. So they can either print that off from their own computer, or they can let you know that they need one. And you can actually tag the invoice, and you can email it to them.
Okay.
Or
create a PDF if you need to.
Create a PDF and print it off and send it through the mail. Exactly. That's exactly right. Something else that I wanted to point out, I think you kind of brought this up earlier, not 100%, but this might be helpful for you guys, is, okay, so we've got this invoice. Maybe we just want to know more about the member or look at their profile. We can view their profile right from this page as well. And this brings us directly to their profile. We're going to review all of the ways that this is organized here in a second, but I just wanted to show you that you do have that function.
Okay. All right, and then once I pay it, I get some kind of receipt.
That's exactly right. Now you'll also, I'm going to go ahead and go back.
Will the receipt show how I paid it?
It will.
Will it say
for example.
Yeah, it's going to say the kind of credit card, or it's just going to say credit card?
I think it says the kind. So in this example, this one was paid with a check on 12/20, so it shows payment in the description. If I go back, I want to see if I can find another paid example where maybe these actually you're not going to see any credit card because these are all just tests, so we don't want our real money. These are all fake checks. But I think it does say Visa or MasterCard or whatever kind of card it is.
Just because in your office, when it doesn't do that, it can be a pain to go back and have to find it sometimes.
It will list it on there.
Okay.
I'm about 100% positive. I'll double check though and let you know. And I did not mean to view their profile. I'm going to go back to my invoices just to show you a couple other things we can do in this invoice list. We can also search invoices by the invoice number, the first, last name, or the organization.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
And if we wanted to filter these invoices, we can.
I assume you can also do it by status and type.
That's exactly right. So all of these up here are the different statuses that our invoices can be or have. So if I selected open.
I mean, it's just this big spreadsheet in the background there.
Say that again?
It's basically just a big spreadsheet in the background there.
Exactly, yeah. So this would just show us all of our open invoices. If we didn't want to see open, maybe we just wanted to see paid, we're going to unselect open and just select paid. Now it shows us all of the paid invoices. We can also filter by type. So we have ad hoc, credit memos, forms, and renewals. Now,
When we're looking at revenue, can we, well, I guess in the main spreadsheet we can do that by the member categories.
yes, absolutely, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me.
Not here, but there. Okay.
And there's a transaction report we can look at as well, and I'll show you that.
Yeah, I saw that there. Yeah.
As well. Yeah. So invoice templates, that's something that you kind of had asked about. So I went ahead and in your system created a default invoice template, this dues. So you guys have created some renewal notifications that are going to go out to your members. The way that process works is once a renewal notification, once the member is in their renewal period and it's time for them to receive their renewal notification, their invoice will be attached so they can pay it from that email. Now, we have those notifications for dues renewals set up somewhere else. Those are under our member types category. We're going to get to that hopefully as well. So for dues renewals, we don't need additional notifications reminding members to pay them because we've got that set up. However, for any other type of invoice created in the system, like for new members or for event registrations, if you guys have donations or sponsorships or anything like that, we would need additional member type invoice templates. So right now I created this dues renewal one, so I would just edit. And here we can determine the net due date from the time the invoice was created and to when it's due, so anywhere from 15 to 90 days. That footer information is exactly where you would add in the notes field for the specific notes that you would want to show up on that type of invoice. And then we have the opportunity to set up some notifications to go out reminding your members to pay their invoice. So we can either say, you have a new invoice, please make sure you pay it. Here's a reminder, you're 1 to 7 days before your invoice is due, make sure you pay it. Okay, now your invoice is past due 10 to 45 days, please make sure you pay it. And then lastly, we have a payment notification letting them know that they did pay their invoice and it has been paid. The invoice is attached to all of these notifications that go out. Okay, so this is a part of homework that I'm going to assign to you guys, and I'm going to send some follow-up information and a link that can help you walk through this if it's difficult to remember. I know it's different watching somebody drive and having to do it yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
So the first set of forms that you had sent with all the questions about notification, did that not include?
This is Ed Whiting. I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt your invoice teaching. It's very good. Through this, are we in need of a list of current members and their category and their mailing address? Can you generate this from the data you have here?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
that would be.
You will teach us how to do that.
Yes, I will, and hopefully we'll get to that on our training today. I think we should be able to.
Okay, that sounds fine because I really need to send out a mailing to people, and I need to know what category membership they are.
Great, yeah, we can definitely, once your database is imported, you'll be able to search by all of those different categories, and you can export any of those categories into an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll show you how to do that today.
But one of the things is that you still need to import that data, and then once it's imported, we can export it to an Excel spreadsheet, and then we need to double check it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And Calendar, just to answer your question, those notifications that you guys filled out, those are just for dues renewals. These are going to be specific to any other type of invoice you create in the system. So
Okay.
This is separate from that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Homework.
Just a little bit, and it's more so just to get you guys in the system to help reinforce, the knowledge that and the training that I'm doing. So it's great practice to get in here and get your hands dirty a little bit because that's where you come up with questions, and you can let me know any questions you have so we can either do a re-review or recap or anything like that. So these invoice templates, once again, just to kind of show you how I got here, I went to Financial, Invoices, and then Invoice Templates. And this is where you can create those different invoice templates depending on what type of invoices will be created in your system.
Wait, is there an online manual or anything, that goes with that we can look up things as we're working in here?
Absolutely. So I'm going to be sending you a lot of links And I'm getting those links from this. Do you guys see this aqua or teal question mark down here in the bottom right-hand corner?
Mhm.
If I select this and it says ASA Help Center Login, so ASA stands for, I basically say it's like a super admin. That means you guys have permission to see everything on the back end. So I'm just going to select that, and this brings us to our Resource Center. I just want to go ahead and point out anything that has the word classic, do not look at. This is our previous product, and it looks completely different than what you guys are working in. Always make sure you look under just MemberClicks documentation. It's this middle button here. If I select that, it's going to bring us to all of these organized resources, videos, and articles that we've created.
Okay.
And they're kind of separated out, but I'm also going to be sending you guys links directly from this page in my follow-up emails just to help with any questions you have.
And is there, for us, can we have one admin who can then give permission to certain people to get into this thing?
Yes, I'll show you how to do that as well today. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to look at is our invoice settings. These are just really simple. This is just, I'm going to make sure your logo's in here. That's the logo that'll show up on the invoice. This is going to be your organization information, so your organization information that'll show up in here, and I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And at the bottom, the invoice number is just the invoice number that you want to start your invoices at. So if you guys want to put that in, or if you already have an idea, sometimes I pick back up where you guys have left off with your previous system, or we just started 1,000. Do you guys have an idea of what you might want that to be right now?
Oh, what you're going to start the invoices at? Yeah, it's not up to me, but usually they start at 1,000.
I'll add that in.
Unless you guys have numbers from before and you need to start higher.
We'll just go ahead and put it in at 1,000. If you guys need to change it, you can let me know, or you can come in here and do that yourself.
Okay, as long as we can change it, that's fine.
Okay. Under revenue accounts, so once I receive your revenue accounts, and they need to be the exact same as how they're listed in QuickBooks, I'll be able to add these in for you, or you guys can add them in, but I don't mind doing it for you just to help cut down on some of the work. To add a revenue account, just so you know for the future, you just select Add New Revenue Account. You would put in the name of the revenue account, like I said, just as it appears in your QuickBooks. And then you can add a description, although that's optional. If it's for dues, we toggle on dues. If it's not, we leave it toggled off. At that point, we would save, and that would create these line items like you see here. I created these just as default, so we have something to look at, and so you guys have something to kind of base this
revenue
off of.
Accounts are just for us to look at the breakdown?
That's exactly right. We're going to assign revenue accounts to forms and your membership dues renewals and all of that kind of stuff. So basically what's going to happen is your money is going to filter into each of these revenue accounts. And the reason we do that is because you can actually pull a transaction report from MemberClicks.
Right.
You can import it into QuickBooks and use that to reconcile your accounts. But that means they have to be broken up into the revenue accounts in order to do that.
So QuickBooks has to be set up the same way then?
Well, MemberClicks has to be set up the same way as QuickBooks. So
Right.
if you guys could pull all of your revenue accounts, you can export all of your revenue accounts from QuickBooks and send them to me. I'm just going to import the income accounts because we're only bringing in income. That we're not ever going to pay anybody through MemberClicks.
Right.
I would import those income accounts for you, and then and then you can actually use that, like I said, to reconcile your accounts in QuickBooks. Okay. Lastly, we have our payment processor, and this is just going to be Moolah. I'm hoping you guys have that. You guys should have that. What am I trying to say? That form to complete to send back to our Moolah rep, and then she'll be able to get that set up for you guys in here. Yeah. Okay. And that'll just be your payment processor. Another piece of financials, and I'm not going to go too much into detail because we're running a little short on time, but transactions, so if I go to financial and transactions, this is actually where you can pull a transaction report depending on the date. We can also filter by revenue account. So once I have all your revenue accounts in here, we can filter by that. The transaction type, whether it's a sale, payment, refund, whatever it could be. The payment type, the credit card type, and then from there we'll actually just be able to export. Are you guys on QuickBooks Online or desktop?
I don't know. I don't do that.
That's fine. Desktop.
Yeah, I'm not, unfortunately.
That's fine. So if you're on QuickBooks Desktop, you'll export to IIF. If you're on QuickBooks Online, you would export to CSV. And if you guys have a financial team, I can do a specific 30-minute training with them just to help them understand these different processes for them to use this as a tool with QuickBooks.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. So we talked about attributes just a bit ago, so you kind of already heard my spiel. I'm working under database and attributes. This is just going to be the second piece of your homework. So I'm going to create all of the custom attributes depending on what you have in your database. And then I'm also going to create your built-in attributes based off of, once again, what I see in your database. Your members have the ability to log into their profile and update their profile from their own personal computer. They can also look at other people's profiles that are members. So you have some networking capabilities built in there. However, you guys have full customization as to what they can update or what they can see in their profiles, and then what they can see in other members' profiles. So we would do that by completing the attribute security and profile owner attribute
And
security.
Is there an opt-out or an opt-in or an opt-out? So if someone doesn't want their information seen?
Not really. But I've never run into a problem where somebody wouldn't want their information seen because you guys.
You'd be surprised.
If that comes up, we can find a solution, but really this is more of like an umbrella type situation. So what your settings are going to umbrella over all your members. So if your members are more on the conservative side, I would just kind of more so leave it at that your members can't see other members' information. If your members are more into the networking component, then I would share more information. So that would just be kind of, and that's why we leave this up to you guys, because we don't know your membership base and what their preferences are. So as an example, for attribute security right now, I'm looking at admin. So as an admin, what can you see in your prospect profiles? What can you see in other admin profiles? What can you see in your member profiles? As an admin, you can see and do anything. So this green pencil means you can also edit their profiles, which is true because you're the admin. Then we look at category 1. So that it would be, well, as category 1, what can I do and see to prospect profiles? Maybe nothing, because you don't want them to be able to network with prospects since prospects aren't paying. With admin and other members, maybe you might say, okay, well, they can view, not edit, but they can view everything. But then you might want to go through and make some additional preferences. So you might say, well, address is fine for them to see, but we really don't want them to see their home address. So we're going to hide this. So we can select these squares.
So Kathy, if you have any concerns, let us know. We can, take that into consideration. And then
well, I think if you just have anyone who doesn't want certain information seen, if you can on an individual basis take that out of there, that's one thing. Or not take it out, but just hide it from everyone, that's fine. But if you had to do it as a whole category, that's a different story.
So, Adrian, I have a quick question about event registration. Are we going to go through that today?
No, ma'am. You said about event registration?
Yes.
No, that'll actually be for our forms training, which will be our third training probably. Okay. So this is another piece of homework that I would like for you guys to come in here and do, and just determine what your members can see in other members' profiles. The second piece to that is what your members can do and see in their own profile. So you may say, okay, well, my members can really edit anything, but I do want you to make sure you go through each of these subjects in detail, because you'll notice down here at the bottom, we have those system attributes. And these things, they really do not need to be able to update, right? They cannot update their expiration date.
Right. So you can go in those individually and keep them from touching those things.
That's exactly right, yeah. So that would be what I would ask for you guys to do.
That's how you're going to do it for their address and stuff, too, if someone doesn't want it seen.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So just this attribute security, profile owner attribute security, once again, I'll have this recapped in my email that I'll be sending out to you guys after, well, later this afternoon. I've got calls back to back until about 6, but I'll send it this evening. Yes, ma'am.
With the attributes, just to give us an idea of what we should be looking at, do you have a list of what other organizations have for attributes so we can have an idea of what we want to add?
I don't, and that and the only reason why is because it just is from one end of the spectrum to the other with every single association I work with. So there are some where all you'll find is their phone number, their address, their name, like just the very basic built-in attributes. But then depending on the organization, for example, I've been working with a school system, and so they need to collect school system information, like what grades their students are in, what after-school activities are involved in, and those things wouldn't apply to you guys. I worked with a nursing home association, and theirs is like, what are their nurses, what degrees do their nurses have specialties in, like physical therapy and occupational therapy and speech therapy. So it just is really going to be specific to you guys and what you need to know about your members. Does that make sense, Susan?
Yeah, let me jump in. I think in terms of institutions, that's category 1, as I recall. And I think the fact that they're a hospital or medical center is different than for academic institution. So those separations would be good to be able to sort. In terms of category 2 people and 3, I think we would need to know them by discipline, so to speak, professional discipline.
So the question I really have is, one, can you add on to these at any time so that if, for example, we add some kind of exam and we want to know who's eligible to take that exam, can we add to that? Or because can we keep editing and adding to our database essentially so that it shows up in these places?
Absolutely. And so you guys have full function of adding a custom attribute, and we're not going to have time to get to that today, and so which is totally fine. We'll just get to it next time. I'll pick back right up where we are now. But you can add custom attributes 10 years from now, if you guys are still with MemberClicks, you can still, because we know that your membership is constantly evolving, and so you
basically everything needs to be a field.
Yes.
And that way you can separate the data any way you want.
Yeah. Yes. And you have to think about it in terms of how you're going to search this data. So having text fields, so I can create different ways that we capture the information. Having a text field is difficult to search by because then it's like, okay, if it has the word medical in it, or if it has the word, student in it, then, that's kind of a long shot. Whereas if you have we have what we call a selection set, which actually gives your members a drop-down of options to choose. They can either choose one option or they can choose multiple options.
That was going to be my next question, because if they have to put something in that requires to spell something, we want it should be a drop-down so that nobody misspells it.
And so it's uniform, exactly, for consistency purposes. And we can also add a other category, and as they're completing a form, if they select other, then you can create a line that will allow them to add in what that other is, and then you can determine if you need to add that as an option to your selection set, or if maybe that specific member is just a one-off, just an exception.
Okay, so similar to a spreadsheet, will it keep certain attributes together? So for example, if I'm searching this thing and I want to know all the optometrists and I have the letters OD as a field, then, or as an attribute, then can I keep the names and that other attribute together so that when I search it, everything stays lined up together.
I'm a little confused by that.
Okay, so when and it may be different in here, but like if I do a spreadsheet, right, and I have, you know, first name and last name, okay, unless I tie those together in my spreadsheet, if I do A to Z for the last name, the first name is not going to go with it.
Well, I think you're talking about sorts.
Yeah, when I do a sort. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one caution, Susan, is that the OD degree is a North American degree. So if you have international members, OD would not find them. So some other designation, OPTLM or something like that.
Put them in an attribute. You don't have to say OD. You can have an X. You can have anything you want, but you can still tie them to that code. That's not the problem. Yeah. The problem is that when you're sorting here, I assume everything that's there for that person goes with them when you're sorting.
Yeah, it actually does in their profile, and so we can use our advanced search function. And like I said, I'm going to go into this. We'll have to just do it on our next training because we could really dive into this and get kind of.
But you can do it by a search. You don't even have to do it by a just by the attribute.
Correct. We can do it by a search, and then the easiest way for what I'm getting is like by sorting and stuff would be you can export all this to an Excel document, and then you could sort it in the Excel document. That would be easier to me than trying to sort in MemberQuix. Yeah, but I'll make sure we go through that in detail. That was kind of like our next thing that we were going to get to, and I really want to make sure that we spend enough time on that because using that advanced search function to search for members is huge, right? That's a really big component of this, and so I'll make sure we have plenty of time to review that next time. While I have everyone on the phone, would you guys be open to scheduling our next training together?
Yeah, it's good for me. So if it works for everybody else, it's great.
What'd you say?
Thursdays like today would be, if that's going to work for everyone, then we can keep it the same.
Well, one more time, what are you suggesting?
She's saying Thursday.
We could just do like next Thursday at 1 o'clock again if that works for everybody.
Okay. Next week I'm away, but
that's the 19th.
Yes, sir.
At what time again?
1 o'clock would be that would be Eastern time. You guys right now it is. What time is it? Y'all's time.
10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock on the West Coast.
So you're Pacific time.
You're talking about 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Same time as today.
Okay, but these are recorded if we're not able to be there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And I'm going to